Greetings, friends, and welcome to Enigma Night Gaming. My name is Liara, and I will be your guide in today's adventure. Today, we're playing Tyrion Cuthbert, Attorney of the Arcane. We're continuing on with Case 3, which was the origin of Horus. So far, we've investigated. At first, we thought it was just an accident, but then we discovered signs of transmutation on these railings back there. And so then we started thinking, was it actually murder? But then where was the second body? So we discovered that there was two bodies that were thrown into the vat, supposedly. One was obviously our victim. The other, we don't know, but it was metal. There was some kind of metal object thrown in, or at least an object that had a metal, and it had to have been at least person-sized in theory. My thinking is that it was an arcane construct, but we don't know yet. So without further ado, let's go ahead, hop in, and continue to investigate. That's right, we wanted to go talk to Von Sanctus, and we're going to take Astor with us, who's actually like the prince of the entire realm. So let's go ahead. What can go wrong here? I mean, obviously it's going to be great, right? So this is Von Sanctus's house. It'd be more appropriate to call this building a palace rather than a house. Ugh, what's that smell? As you head further into the manor, you're hit with a very pungent and sour odor. It almost burns the interior of your nostrils every time you inhale. Well, we're here. You look around the manor and don't see anyone nearby. It looks like Lord Sanctus isn't home at the moment. Perhaps we should try looking somewhere else. Alright, well let's see if we can, what we notice here. A long flight of stairs leads to the upper parts of Von Sanctus's manor. You're a bit tempted to snoop around, but it'd be best not to take such risks. Any magic here?
Arcanum.
Alright, we don't see anything. Okay, so there's literally no one to talk to. Where could we go talk to him? Let's try the town square, I guess? Maybe he'll be there? We mustn't let such idealistic notions throw our nation into chaos. You arrive at the town square and see Lord Von Sanctus speaking to several spectators from a podium. There's Lord Von Sanctus. He appears to be giving some sort of speech. You do your best to remain hidden from his view while you listen in. Please understand, the actions of the nobility seem callous. However, we only have your best interests at heart. This controversy with the Dracogen Trading Company is just one of the many examples. These so-called unions that men like him support may seem appealing, but they only obfuscate and hinder the nobility from protecting the working class. Men like Stefanik Dracogen are merely charlatans. They only seek financial gain by strong-arming your true benefactors. True benefactors? What a joke! I knew that Von Sanctus was wary of Dracogen, but I never expected him to be this zealous about getting rid of him. I think it's less about Dracogen specifically, and more about what he represents. What do you mean? The Dracogen Trading Company has presented tangible proof that its policies are both effective and profitable. Even businesses that have no affiliation with him have started following his example. Von Sanctus is merely a relic of the past, and I think he knows that. His archaic ideals won't survive in this landscape. I can only hope that our grand kingdom recognizes this danger as I have. He's full of himself. The pompous noble leaves the podium as the citizens ponder his words. Ugh, what a load of garbage. It's obvious that Von Sanctus knows his days are numbered. But look at what happened. We let the common folk set their own standards and a young man died. You should have a point there. Celeste isn't happy. You saw Von Sanctus get into a carriage shortly after his speech. It appears to be heading back to his manor. Alright, Celeste, you're very mad. Ugh, I can't believe that people are agreeing with what Von Sanctus said. I hate it. Some people just eat up whatever lies the nobility gives them. It is unfortunate, but once you solve this case, the truth will come to light. I know for certain that they'll see Von Sanctus for the con artist that he is. That's a bit too optimistic. I love that Aster is, like, on our side, because he's, like, the prince of the entire kingdom. Where should we go next, Tyrion? Lord Von Sanctus was giving a speech to the townsfolk here. After he was done, he got into a carriage and drove back to his manor. We should be able to find him there. Even if he's our opponent, we should try to get as much information out of him as possible. Alright, so let's go ahead and head back. Now he should be there, right? Anyways, we saw Von Sanctus heading back here. We should be able to speak with him soon. Wait, Tyrion, isn't he going to recognize us? We can't really avoid that. If we want to question him, we need to speak to him directly. But even a noble like him would have to act civilly with the Crown Prince present. You mean like how you civilly embarrassed and insulted him a few days ago? Right. You completely forgot about the chess tournament. Well, it's not as if we can hide our identities from him. I faced him in the chess tournament, and I'm Dracogen's attorney. He knows what we look like. What we look like? Wait, that's it! What? Elusio! Wait, what are you... Wow, that's quite impressive, Celeste. Right? I've been practicing that one. What are you two talking about? I think you should see for yourself. The prince gestures towards a nearby mirror in the hallway. You reluctantly approach it. Just what exactly did Celeste do to you? Uh-oh. Oh, what? Why do I look like Riss Rudolph? It looks great, right? Eris taught that one to me. Do you honestly expect him to fall for this? He's probably a powerful mage. He'll see right through this. Are you telling me that the Crown Prince is here? Why didn't you notify me sooner? You hear Von Sanctus shouting at his attendant from down the hallway. He seems to be quickly heading this way. Uh-oh. You might want to disguise yourself as well, Celeste. Don't encourage her. This is extremely illegal. Right, Look, you should just dispel this ridiculous disguise and... He's almost here. I can't think of anyone. I'm terribly sorry for keeping your highness waiting. Elusio. Uh-oh. What do we got? What was that? What are you talking about? I could have sworn I heard something. Well, I didn't hear anything either. You must be imagining things. Scaled Lord help us, of all the people she could have chosen. At least she's able to mimic her voice well enough. Oh, Lady Steelwind, I wasn't expecting you until much later. Well, I do not answer to you. I shall do as I please. Yes, I suppose you have a habit of doing that. Surprisingly, it doesn't look like he's seen through your disguises. He must have other things on his mind if his guard is down like this. Anyways, Lord Von Sanctus, pardon the abrupt intrusion. I came to pay my respects. I am honored by your Majesty's presence. Unfortunately, I am quite busy with administrative matters at the moment. Too busy to show hospitality to the heir to the throne? I didn't. I was just... I suppose I have some time to speak with you. The conditions aren't ideal, but at least you have Von Sanctus here with you. You should let Prince Aster make small talk with him for a bit. After that, you can subtly bring up the Von Sanctus crest you found in the vat. Alright. I heard about the charges that you brought against the Dracogen Trading Company. Forgive my bluntness, but is everything well within your estate? I'm simply cleaning house, nothing more. I've dealt with plenty of men like Dracogen before, and this time will be no different. I understand that he may be taking business away from you. But does that really warrant you taking such drastic measures? It's not just about his business, it's these ideas that he's putting into people's heads. He's allowed these unions to continue existing, and other businesses are following his example. It's absolutely absurd. It's as if the entire world has gone mad. I see. Our society only functions when the lower class knows their place. Get in your place. If that's how our society functions, then perhaps it is flawed. You're still young, Prince Aster. These righteous ideas may sound appealing, but they are the path to disorder. The common folk do not care about the well-being of our kingdom as a whole. They only care about themselves individually. If we allow them to become empowered, they will use that power selfishly. It is up to the upper class to maintain order. I see. He's not happy about that. Alright. By the way, I'm surprised that you're representing Lord Von Sanctus, Lady Steelwind. Oh, right. What is he doing? It's already hard enough to maintain this ruse. I knew that you recently became a prosecutor, but I never imagined that you'd represent a noble. Don't get ahead of yourself, Aster. What does that even mean? Let's not be coy, Lady Steelwind. If you must know, Your Majesty, House Steelwind and I came to an arrangement. The fair lady is so keen on wasting her talents on civil work. Given that, I might as well utilize her to my benefit. Do not speak to her like that. I meant no disrespect. But rest assured, this is only temporary. I see. So you have an arrangement with Lucio Steelwind? Uh-oh, he's scared. Seems Aster is collecting his own information. By the way, Lord Von Sanctus, have any of your attendants gone missing lately? That's an oddly specific question. But no, all of my attendants are accounted for. You don't see any dissonant thoughts from the eye, but he could be unconsciously shielding himself from it. I must ask, why would you ask such a question? You see, I actually found a discarded trinket while walking around the city. It had the crest of House Von Sanctus on it. I was worried that something unsavory might have happened to one of your people. I see. I suppose you must be on edge after what happened to your ship. However, items with the Von Sanctus crest are quite common nowadays. Really? The item that you found must have been a product produced by Von Sanctus Industries. An item produced by Von Sanctus Industries? Alright, what do you make? So the Von Sanctus crest is on some of the items produced by your company. And not just some of the items. The Von Sanctus crest is engraved on every product created by Von Sanctus Industries. As a result, people have come to associate the quality of our products with the quality of House Von Sanctus. Or at least they did until hacks like Dracogen came out of the woodwork. So in other words, it's just branding. What type of products does Von Sanctus Industries produce? We used to produce magical accessories for mages, but now we produce all manner of products. As head of commerce in our kingdom, we've diversified our holdings. Oh, that means the metal shard could have come from anything. Okay, so it's been updated. Let's see. Von Sanctus Industries places its crest on all of its products. Therefore, this shard could have potentially come from a product produced by Von Sanctus Industries. Okay? It seems this lane of questioning led to a dead end. Dang it, is it really impossible to identify where the shard came from? Do you sell your products to the Dracogen Trading Company? Yes, of course I do. Despite my misgivings with Dracogen, it would be foolish of me if I didn't do business with him. Well, that means there are Von Sanctus products in the Arcane Refinery. You're called Von Sanctus Industries, after all. That's true. The metal shard could have been from some sort of industrial tool. Just what are you implying, Lady Steelwind? Uh-oh, he's afraid. A twinge of nervousness to the eye. Does he know something? Uh-oh, why would he get so defensive over a question like that? Was there a Von Sanctus product in the refinery on the night of the murder? Oh, he knows. She misspoke and said murder instead of accident. Whoopsie. But that is evoking a reaction. Answer the question, Von... Celeste attempts to loudly slam the tip of her cane on the ground, only to realize that her cane isn't actually real. She loses her balance and tips over a nearby vase. The vase shatters on the ground, creating quite a mess of broken shards and water. Lady Steelwind, are you okay? Celeste immediately regains her balance and tries to act as if nothing happened. I'm not paying for that. Ugh. Lord Von Sanctus completely loses his composure and recoils at the sight of the broken vase. Construct, I require your assistance. I knew it was going to be a construct. Acknowledged. In response to Von Sanctus's call, an arcane construct walks out from a nearby closet. Construct, clean up this mess at once. He seems very disturbed by the mess. Is he some sort of clean freak? Acknowledged. The construct begins quickly picking up the shards of the broken vase. You own an arcane construct? I do. Von Sanctus Industries is the inventor of arcane constructs after all. I knew it! Right, you recall Celeste mentioning that earlier. Would you like one, Your Highness? My apologies. I'm not very interested in using artificery. Suit yourself. In any case, I'm afraid Lady Steelwind must be taking her leave now. What? Remember, you said that you could only accompany me for 1 hour. It's close to being 1 hour, right, Lady Steelwind? What are you... Oh, right, 1 hour. It would definitely not be good for us to be here for more than 1 hour, because your illusion's gonna fall off. Oh, does this illusion only last for an hour? In the meantime, may I discuss some personal matters with you, Lord Von Sanctus? Of course, I'm at your disposal, Your Majesty. He raised an eyebrow at the prince. It appears that he didn't come here just to help you. But you suppose you've gotten all the information you need out of Von Sanctus. It's time to move on to the next lead. Oh boy. That was embarrassing. Yeah, that was a bit too close for comfort. Well, at least no one saw through our disguises. Are you an attendant here? Please notify Lord Von Sanctus that the real Arya Stark villain walks through the front door of the manor just as you're about to exit. Whoops! She immediately stops in her tracks upon meeting her doppelganger. Abirio. With one spell, Steelwind dispels the illusions over you and Celeste. Upon seeing who you really are, she lets out an irritated sigh. Is impersonating the Steelwind some kind of a hobby for you, Miss McCoy? So that's hilarious because in case 2, she did a very similar thing, except for she just pretended that she was a Steelwind. Like she didn't disguise herself with an illusion. So yeah, that's really funny. She looks really angry this time. No, there was a really good reason for us doing this. Let me guess. You wanted to interrogate Von Sanctus without him knowing who you really were. No? Lying about your name is one matter, but impersonating a noble using magic is a serious crime. Tyrion, help please? Are you seriously going to have to defend her in court again? You quickly try to think of a way to diffuse the situation. Sorry for the wait, you two. I had to discuss... Lady Steelwind. Great. According to Aster, Steelwind despises him. Knowing that he was part of this will just make things worse. Yes, Your Majesty? Why is he here? Oh, she doesn't despise him. She doesn't despise him at all. She's blushing, she's happy and nervous. She does not despise him at all. What? I see you've dispelled their disguises. You knew about this? Aster steps between you and Steelwind. It seems that he is trying to calm her down. For better or for worse, her attention is firmly focused on him. I'm terribly sorry. I didn't mean to disrespect you. No, that's not why. He's really close. Oh, she liked him. They pulled this ruse under my orders. Could you please look the other way just this once? Okay. Thank you, Lady Steelwind. I won't forget this. The thoughts. She can't even form a complete thought. That's hilarious. Poor Steelwind. I need to go. Well, that was certainly something. I'm sorry you two had to see that. What? It's as I said before, she absolutely detests me. You saw it, didn't you? She could barely look me in the eye. Oh my gosh. In any case, we're starting to run out of time. We should head back to the refinery. Celeste is like, you're so stupid. She does not hate you. But we still don't know where the metal shard came from. From what Von Sanctus told us, I don't think we can find out exactly where it came from. If each of Von Sanctus's products has that crest, it could be any number of things. Well, hopefully, Dracogen can help us narrow that list down. If it did come from some kind of industrial tool, he might be able to check if any of the refinery's tools are missing. You're just hoping he'll provide you with some kind of lead. Alright, so let's head back to the refinery and talk to him. That was really funny. Alright. Hello again, Mr. Cuthbert. I hope you have good news. Well, actually, you take some time to explain to Dracogen what you found during your investigation. You're still uncertain about the identity of the second victim. The metal shard with the Von Sanctus crest is your best lead right now. I see. With that said, do you have any tools that you've purchased from Von Sanctus Industries? I do. He personally sold me quite a few when I first arrived in the city. I even purchased the security system for the refinery building from him. Really? Did you purchase anything else from him? Well, he also tried to sell me some of those arcane constructs. He told me I could be the first person in Arnex to own such an innovative technology. But I turned him down. Really? But they seem so useful. I don't feel comfortable trusting machines to handle the work here. Those constructs require very specific instructions and they lack common sense. And that's true. We saw how unreliable they could be during the Nightgrave case. He heavily emphasized how exclusive this deal would be for me. Looking back on it, he was probably trying to make me dependent on his services. Yeah, I guess you made the right choice by refusing his offer. Alright, so products from Von Sanctus. Let's see, Lloyd Von Sanctus personally sold several industrial tools to Stefanik Dracogen on behalf of Von Sanctus Industries. A lot of these tools were present in the Arcane Refinery. Von Sanctus Industries also created the security system for the refinery, which I guess that means they could get in whenever they wanted to. Von Sanctus attempted to sell Dracogen a few arcane constructs, a product that is not available to anyone else in Arnex. However, Stefanik Dracogen did not trust the construct's abilities to perform tasks effectively. He did not purchase any. Anyways, have any of the tools from Von Sanctus Industries been reporting missing? The Inquisition actually asked me the same question, so I took some time today to check my inventory. Why would the Inquisition ask him that? Sailwind come to the same conclusion that you did? There was one tool that was unaccounted for. Really? What kind of tool was it? A rod of mending. It's a large tool that we use to repair damage on the machines. A tool for repairs? How large was it? Quite large, actually. It's called a rod, but it's more of a large cylindrical tool. It requires 2 people to properly carry and use it. Wait, a repair tool like that would use transmutation magic, right? That's right. What if the rod of mending was the thing that weakened the guardrail? Is that possible, Dracogen? I suppose that is possible. Now that you mention it, I recall there being a way to reverse its effects. You never even considered that the transmutation traces were left by an artificery tool. That does lift some suspicion off of Aster. Alright, so the Rod of Mending is an artificery tool that channels transmutation magic to repair objects. It's possible to reverse its magic and cause it to weaken objects instead of repairing them. It's quite large and requires 2 people to properly carry and use it. Someone could have sabotaged the rail with the rod, and they might have thrown it into the vat to cover their tracks. But if it didn't completely dissolve, that would mean they threw the rod in close to when Justin fell off the walkway. It can't be a coincidence that these 2 events happened so close to each other. we still have no idea who actually broke the guardrail. We didn't find a second body in the vat, and we still don't have evidence that proves a second victim even exists. I feel as if we have more questions than answers at the moment. We've learned a few new facts about the case, though, and the Inquisition has verified the traces of transmutation on the guardrail. The burden of proof is still on the prosecution to prove that Dracogen is at fault. Even if Steelwind has proper explanation for that, I can counter her with the facts we've learned thus far. I just hope the trial goes as smoothly as you're describing. It rarely ever does, but knowing that would just needlessly stress him out. Regardless, I appreciate the work you've done thus far. I'll leave things in your very capable hands. I just hope you don't encounter any more curveballs tomorrow. Oh boy. Alright, so we've done some more investigation. Now it's time to save. Alright. Alright, time for court. Court is now resumed for the trial of Stefanik Dracogen. Let us review the proceedings from 2 days ago. At first, the facts of the case seem very straightforward. The victim, Justin Way, put his weight on a poorly maintained guardrail on the refinery grounds. Said guardrail broke, causing Justin Way to fall to his death. However, the defense presented a shocking piece of evidence in the previous proceedings. Traces of transmutation magic were found on the same broken guardrail. This new evidence implies that sabotage, if not outright foul play, played a part in the death of the victim. This evidence is also accompanied by conflicting testimonies from witnesses. All of these elements have thrown quite some doubt on the validity of the prosecution's case. Yes, however, the prosecution maintains that the Dracogen Trading Company is at fault for Justin Way's death. Even though someone may have sabotaged the guardrails, the prosecution acknowledges the sabotage may have occurred at the scene of the accident. However, we also believe that there are several factors in this case that the court is overlooking. As we all know, several witnesses were present at the refinery at the time of the accident. The harbor master was showing a patron around the refinery. Masarika Tudor was making a food delivery and entered the building. And of course, the victim Justin Way was obviously present as well. Each and every one of these people had no business being in the refinery that night. In the case of the harbor master and his patron, it would be hardly reasonable for anyone to stop them. You doubt anyone would stand in the way of the Crown Prince. That may be, but Justin Way worked in the freight division and should not have been at the scene. I've already verified this with my client. The victim was not authorized to be in the refinery building. And who stopped Justin Way from entering the area unauthorized? Isn't that the defendant's duty to prevent such individuals from entering the building? My client can't be held responsible for Justin's breach of the set protocols. And you surely can't hold my client responsible for someone sabotaging the guardrail. This so-called sabotage is only theoretical until a proper culprit is found. I might be compelled to agree with you, Miss Dillwyn. After all, there's no hard evidence that proves the traces of transmutation were left by a specific spell. What kind of mental gymnastics is that? Every part of the guardrail that had traces on it was rusted. They're bending the context of what happened to suit their purposes. Hard evidence means everything here, and the rod of mending has been reduced to shards in the vat. Without the complete rod, you can't prove that someone used it to sabotage the guardrail. Regardless, it is not the responsibility of the Dracogen Trading Company to ensure that its employees, is it not the responsibility to ensure that its employees do not wander into restricted areas? Blaming a potential saboteur puts the cart before the horse. It doesn't stop with Justin Way either. Why was Masarika Tudor able to enter the building? She doesn't even work for the refinery, yet she was able to waltz into the building without any trouble. Actually, Steelwind does have a point about Rika. Shouldn't something have stopped her from entering that area? You doubt that Dracogen would show that kind of negligence. If that's true, I believe we should hear from Miss Tudor directly. Let's hear how easily she gained access to the refinery on the day of the accident. We've already anticipated that. Masarika Tudor is prepared and ready to testify. Well, very well then. Bailiff, please escort Miss Tudor to the stands. Oh boy. Miss Tudor, are you aware of why you've been called here today? Yeah, I heard everything from the gallery. Then you'll have no problem answering the following question. Did you encounter resistance when you entered the refinery the night of the accident? Witness, may I remind you that you are under oath to tell the court everything that you know. Failure to do so is a crime. No one tried to stop me. Sorry, Tyrion. You have nothing to apologize for, witness. The only one at fault here is the Dracogen Trading Company and their negligence. Hey, that's... For the record, please testify in detail how you entered the refinery that day, Miss Tudor. Okay. Alright, time for the witness testimony. That day, I was looking for Justin in the freight area, but I couldn't find him. I decided to look for him in the refinery's main building. There was some kind of magical door leading into it, but it was unlocked. Nothing really stopped me from entering the refinery building. As the court can clearly see, there were no safeguards preventing the witness from entering that restricted area. The witness clearly stated that there was a magical door leading into the building. This was obviously some sort of security door powered by artificery, which was still unlocked and effectively useless. Darn it, there must be a way to prove that the unlocked door wasn't Dracogen's fault. Mr. Cuthbert, you may begin your cross-examination. Alright, the security system was provided by Von Sanctus Industries. That day I was looking for Justin in the freight area, but I couldn't find him. You were there to deliver his dinner to him, am I correct? Yeah, he's usually in the freight area around that time. I was surprised when I didn't see him there. I was a little worried, so I decided to look for him in the refinery's main building. It seems strange that you go looking for him. Why not just leave his food with one of his co-workers? I thought of that, but I also wanted to make sure that he was okay. I was the one that helped him get this job in the first place. It wouldn't look good if he left in the middle of a shift. How did you enter the refinery building, Miss Tudor? There was some kind of magical door leading into it, but it was unlocked. By magical door, do you mean that it was powered by artificery? Yeah, I have a door like it in my restaurant too, but this one looked a lot more complex. Why would you or Dracogen need magical doors anyways? The one in my cafe magically locks the shop when I close it for the day. I guess the door to the refinery building was for the same thing. But that means there was a mechanism to keep out unauthorized personnel, which was effectively useless. The witness entered the refinery and encountered zero resistance. Furthermore, the Inquisition has already logged the specs for the door. Okay, so the only entrance to the refinery building is a door with an artificery lock. Magical keys can be used to unlock the door for 5 seconds. After these 5 seconds, the locks automatically close the door and engages the lock. The lock can only be disabled by Stephanic Dracogen. The door could be physically prevented from closing, but this would trigger an alarm within the refinery's security system. Maybe it was propped open and something was going on with the security system, like the sound. Did you use a key to unlock the door, Miss Tudor? No, I didn't. As you can see from this report, Stephanic Dracogen was the only person capable of disabling the lock. I guess Mr. Dracogen kept the door unlocked during work hours. This means that it's entirely Dracogen's fault that the victim gained access to the building in the first place. Oh, wait, that's not what I meant to... But that is what you implied, unless you can prove that another person disabled that door. You can't refute that statement, yet, but you might be able to work with this new information. Regardless, please add that last statement to your testimony, witness. Alright. Mr. Dracogen must have disabled the lock. No one else could have disabled it. Is that really true, though? Von Sanctus Industries created the security system, right?
Objection!
Is that... I don't know if that's right. Okay, no, that's not it. No one else could have disabled it? Do we have anything else that we can present? Oh no. Send message. I wonder if send message might be useful, but well, let's go ahead and press that. That's quite the leap in logic. And the specs at the door state that the lock can only be disabled by Stephanic Dracogen. Sorry, but I can't think of any other reason why it would be disabled. I mean, I get it. Sometimes I forget the key to my shop. It becomes a real headache when I get locked out. I suppose that makes sense, but would Dracogen really do something like that? The lock is designed to be disabled only by Dracogen, but perhaps someone did something to bypass that. Alright, nothing really stopped me from entering the refinery building. Are you sure you're not forgetting any obstacles you encountered? No, I would have remembered something like that. If someone had told me I wasn't supposed to be there, I would have just left. She seemed sincere about that. It was probably an honest mistake. Rika didn't even realize she entered a restricted area. But the fact she was able to enter it so easily is definitely strange. Dracogen must have had precautions to prevent such a thing from happening. Maybe the employees got lazy and disabled the lock against his orders. It's possible, but would Dracogen really allow something like that to happen? Alright. I think it's gonna be this one. We gotta have something here that we can use. Let's see. He has no idea why he was by the refinery. What about alright. No, that's not gonna help. Let's see. She didn't find him in the freight area, so she went looking for him and found him in the refinery building. Justin supposedly told her that he was on his way to a scheduled meeting with Stephanic Dracogen, but Dracogen never mentioned this meeting. Maybe that could be that. Let's see. Oh, Justin owned a set of lock-picking and safe-cracking tools that could disable mundane and magical locks. Objection! There we go. Miss Yowen, you claim that my client expressed negligence by disabling the door. This is the reason why the security door was unlocked and why the current witness was able to enter the building. That's correct. Your client's negligence allowed unauthorized persons like Justin Wei to get access to the building. And regardless of any sabotage, Justin Wei died because he was also in said unauthorized area. What if I told you that another person may have disabled the door? Not because of laziness, but for more nefarious purposes. What are you talking about? If you recall, the witness entered the refinery building and spotted Justin Wei afterward. This means Justin Wei entered the building before her. So that begs the question, how did Justin Wei enter the building? The answer is obvious. He entered the same way the witness did, through the unlocked door. Not quite, Miss Dillon. Since this trial began, we still haven't answered why Justin Wei entered the refinery building in the first place. He entered the refinery building with the intent of robbing my client's personal safe. That's right, I guess he owed money. I already told you, Tyrion. He would never do something like that. I feel a little guilty about insulting a dead man's name like this, but it's the only possibility that makes sense. I'm sorry, Rika, but there are things about Justin that even you didn't know about. The truth is that he was deeply in debt to a crime lord named Eyetaker. And he was extremely desperate to wipe that debt as soon as he could. Crime lord? Goodness. I won't ask how you came across this information, Mr. Cuthbert, but what does this have to do with this disabled magical lock? Miss Dillwyn, Justin owned a set of tools that he used for picking mundane and magical locks. The safe that he was planning to rob was located in my client's office within the refinery building. I have witnesses who saw Justin retrieve those tools shortly before the night of the accident. He clearly had a plan to disable any locks that stood between him and that safe. This means that it's entirely possible that Justin disabled the locked refinery door illegally. We're not actually going to bring them in, are we? Yeah, I'm kind of bluffing right now. You basically assaulted one of them. We both assaulted him, Tyrion. She says that as if it absolves her of any guilt. Hold on a minute. You can't just accuse him like that when he can't defend himself. I'm sorry, Rika, but his delinquent friends told me about his plan. He didn't want to rob Dracogen, but he needed the gold to wipe away his debt. If Justin wasn't the one that disabled the lock, that would only leave Dracogen. But there has to be an explanation where neither of them is guilty. She definitely believes in Justin, but a scenario where both Justin and Dracogen are innocent is too optimistic, if not impossible. But it's not as if you're entirely certain of what actually happened that day either. Alright, Rika, you knew Justin better than I did. Let's assume you're correct. Neither Justin nor Dracogen disabled the locks that day. How did either of you enter the refinery then? Well, someone must have disabled it before then. Wait, let me think through this. Okay. Plenty of people could have disabled the locks. Maybe one of the employees got lazy and forcefully broke it. There was also the nobleman who was with Mr. Morrison. He's a mage and he could have used magic to do it. It could have also been one of the maintenance constructs. I saw one working on the machines. Maybe one of them broke the lock. I can barely even begin to point out all the issues with your theories, Miss Tudor. If you recall, the entrance lock can only be disabled by Stephanic Dracogen. Even Mr. Cuthbert's theory makes more sense than your list of suspects. Ugh, she's right. It doesn't matter how many suspects she presents. None of them had the credentials to disable the lock. So why do you feel like there is something else wrong with her testimony? She mentioned a construct. He said he didn't have a construct. The defense would still like to exercise the right to cross-examine the witness. What a waste of time. While the court agrees with Miss Stillwyn, we also recognize Mr. Cuthbert's right to cross-examination. However, I will not allow the defense to waste the court's time. If nothing substantial is gained from your cross-examination, I will not hesitate to end it early. Understood, Your Honor. Oh boy. Plenty of people could have disabled the locks. That's not true. But as I've said before, Dracogen was the only person able to legally disable the lock, and Justin Way was the only person who had the skill set to disable it illegally. Well, how do you know that someone else didn't have tools like that? Certainly possible, but unlikely. The ability to pick a magical lock seems like a rare skill for anyone to have. And as far as you know, no one else was there unauthorized that day. Except for maybe Astor and Morrison. Alright, maybe one of the employees got lazy and forcefully broke it. Steelman, did the Inquisition find any evidence of physical tampering on the entrance lock? Not at all. Furthermore, if an employee had attempted what the witness is describing, it would have set off the refinery's security system. Sorry, Rika. Well, there was also that nobleman who was with Mr. Morrison. He's a mage and he could have used magic to do it. The Harbor Master's companion would have no reason to perform such an act. Your personal bias might be clouding your judgment, Miss Steelwyn. This isn't merely an extrapolation based on his character, Mr. Cuthbert. The nobleman in question had the legal authority to enter the building. He wouldn't need to resort to such underhanded tactics. Right. As the Crown Prince, he could legally enter the Arcane Refinery if he wanted to. In fact, that's probably how he entered in the first place. You would probably know that since you two seem so close with each other. Is she jealous of our relationship with Astor? Maybe it'd be best to avoid bringing up Astor with her. It could have also been one of the maintenance constructs. I saw one working on the machines. Maybe one of them broke the lock. But, he doesn't have one.
Objection!
I was right. Wait, that can't be right, can it? Rika, you said you saw a maintenance construct inside the refinery building? Are you sure that it was an arcane construct? Yeah, I've been keeping an eye on them in the Von Sanctus catalogs, but they're not available to the public yet. When you saw this arcane construct, what was it doing? I'm not exactly sure, but it looked like it was doing maintenance on the machines. Maintenance on the machines, but it shouldn't have been there in the first place. What was it doing there? And more importantly, who sent it there? Where are you going with this, Mr. Cuthbert? Arcane constructs only perform the actions they're ordered to do. A construct at Arcane Refinery would only take orders from their administrator, Stefanik Dracogen. Unless you want to imply that the construct broke the lock on his orders. I agree. A construct owned by my client wouldn't have done that. But arcane constructs are extremely rare and not available to the general public yet. Furthermore, they are only produced and sold by Von Sanctus Industries. Lloyd Von Sanctus personally sold several products to the Dracogen Trading Company. However, when offered the opportunity to purchase his arcane constructs, my client turned him down. What? My client disliked the construct's flawed intelligence. He didn't want them working in the refinery. He turned down Lord Von Sanctus's offer in favor of utilizing human labor. Wait, then why did I see a construct there? Exactly! If my client did not own any constructs, why did the witness see one there? Or to phrase this question just differently, who sent that construct there? Who? Why would anyone send an arcane construct into the refinery? First, let's consider the rarity of arcane constructs. They are highly experimental and not available to the public yet. With all of these elements in mind, only one person in the city of Arnux could have done this. Wait, you can't possibly mean... I do, Mr. Owen. Who sent the arcane construct? Few individuals had access to an arcane construct, and even fewer had the ability to disable the locked door without alerting the security system. That's gonna be Von Sanctus, right? Alright, before we pick that, let's see. Magical keys can be used to unlock the door. The lock can only be disabled by Stefanik Dracogen. The door can be physically prevented. Alright. He sold several industrial tools. I mean, it's gotta be... do I just do his profile? It's gotta be Lloyd Von Sanctus, right? Okay. Only one individual could have done everything that I described. Lloyd Von Sanctus, the noble lord of Arnux. Oh man, the controversy. You can't be serious. Are you accusing Lord Von Sanctus of illegally sending a construct into the arcane refinery? What possible reason would he have to do that? When Rika saw the construct, she said it was working on the machines. But that construct was sent by Von Sanctus. It didn't actually work for Dracogen. Wait, could that mean... Rika, when you saw the construct in the refinery, was it carrying anything? Yeah, actually. It was carrying a large cylindrical machine, and it looked pretty heavy. Like it would normally need to be held by two people? Yeah, how did you know? It all makes sense now. Von Sanctus has been far too aggressive in pushing these charges. It wasn't because he was desperate to get rid of Dracogen. It's because he needed to cover up what actually happened. Mr. Cuthbert, where are you going with this? You see, Your Honor, the tool the witness saw this construct carrying wasn't just any tool. It was a rod of mending, an artificery tool that channels transmutation magic. Transmutation magic? As in magic that can be used to weaken and sabotage parts of the refinery? No, are you seriously accusing... Your Honor, Lord Von Sanctus sent a construct into the arcane refinery to sabotage it. Man, did I call it or what? In other words, Lord Von Sanctus is responsible for that guardrail breaking. Alright. I think that's enough out of you, you upstart commoner. Oh. The judge really needs to stop these guys from just barging onto the stand. To be fair, who's going to stop a noble from a pillar family? I've had enough of these blatant accusations. If you want to sling mud at my name, you will do it to me directly. Lord Von Sanctus, I would highly advise against doing this. Please, do you think I'm like that fool Pierce? The defense's theory is laughable, and I have several pieces of evidence that can easily prove my innocence. Do you now? Do you? He has a good poker face, but the eye is telling you he's a little desperate. So it would seem. Very well. If the defense wishes to accuse you, I see no harm in allowing you to defend yourself. The court would very much like to hear your testimony on the matter. Arya's just like, why does no one ever listen to me? It is possible to order a construct to complete a complex list of tasks, but doing so is ill-advised. I'm sure you observed this with the Nightgrave trial. Constructs are extremely prone to error when completing a long list of tasks. According to the defense, the saboteur stole a rod of mending and used it to sabotage very specific sections of the refinery. I would never trust a construct to discreetly complete such an intricate set of tasks unsupervised. And before you ask, I was miles away from the refinery at the time of the accident. I have several associates who can confirm this alibi. Therefore, I had no way of observing this construct from afar, nor did I have any way to communicate with it. That actually makes a lot of sense. So what if Justin saw the construct sabotaging the machines and tried to intercept it, and the tool that the construct was using, turned around and hit the railing, and then the construct fell through or something afterwards, and pulled Justin with him. Maybe? I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. The Nightgrave trial revealed the risks of ordering a construct to commit a crime. But nevertheless, Rika saw a construct at the refinery that day. That's indisputable. He definitely gave the construct a complex list of tasks to sabotage the refinery. And that raises one question. How did he account for the construct's error-prone logic? Maybe it was like, if you get discovered, throw yourself in the vat. I don't know. It is possible to order a construct to complete a complex list of tasks, but doing so is ill-advised. Is that not a massive flaw in the construct's design? Artificer can only do so much. It's difficult enough to create magical items that respond to verbal commands, but our magic is still not advanced enough to replicate the common sense of a living creature. The arcane construct is still a marvelous invention. You merely need to supervise them if you give them complex tasks. But regardless, you admitted it is possible. Yes, but I'm sure you observed this with the Nightgrave trial. Constructs are extremely prone to error when completing a long list of tasks. Are you referring to what happened with Theodore Redmond's construct? I am. It goes without saying that the constructs weren't designed to aid and abet a murder. But they also weren't designed to carry out such a long list of tasks unsupervised. A lot of Redmond's orders fell well outside of the construct's intended usage. He ordered it to transport a human body from one point to another, and he even ordered it to play audio to make itself look like a person. I'm sure you know how that ended. He's right, the construct encountered unforeseen circumstances and failed to complete its tasks, but the construct's creator, Von Sanctus, knew that such circumstances would be unavoidable. So how did he get around that? According to the defense, the saboteur stole a rod of mending and used it to sabotage very specific sections of the refinery. That's correct. As the chairman of Von Sanctus Industries, you would have the resources and know-how to use it in such a way. Yes, I suppose I would, but you forget that I couldn't have been there personally. I would never trust a construct to discreetly complete such an intricate set of tasks unsupervised. Perhaps you were desperate enough to take a chance like that. Please, I'll admit I find Dracogen to be a nuisance to my holdings, but I was hardly in a position to resort to such desperate tactics. Does make sense. You suppose that he was never planning for things to come back to him. If Celeste hadn't cast Detect Magic, no one would have ever known that someone used magic within the refinery. And before you ask, I was miles away from the refinery at the time of the accident. I have several associates who can confirm this alibi. And I suppose you wouldn't mind having these associates testify before the court? Lord von Sanctus was discussing the blockade being put around the city. Steelwind. I won't go into detail about what they discussed, but the King's Guard, City Watch, Arcane Inquisition, and myself were present. We can all confirm that he was present at the meeting, although his behavior was quite erratic that day. How could I not? You people have no care for personal hygiene. It took my retainers hours to disinfect the area. Can we please stay on subject? Alright, anyways. Therefore, I had no way of observing this construct from afar, nor did I have any way to communicate with it. But that's not true, right? Isn't this conjuration? Let's see, 30-foot radius. Okay, maybe not. Do we have anything that would be useful? What would we have? We had the metallic shards. I don't know. Let's just press. What if the construct wasn't actually active? You could have had one of your servants don the construct as a disguise. It's extremely dangerous to wear a construct like a suit of armor. It almost always ends in severe injury and death in the worst case. Furthermore, this supposed construct would have needed to carry and use a rod of mending. I have many capable servants, but none of them have superhuman strength. Right, your theory only makes sense if the construct was the one carrying the rod. His argument makes a lot of sense, actually. He wouldn't trust a construct to sabotage the refinery alone, especially if there was such a big risk of getting caught. But regardless of what he says, Rika did see a construct there that day. You doubt he'd take a risk like that, so he must have had a way to ensure that the construct completed its task correctly. He's a noble from a pillar family, and he's probably an accomplished mage. Could he have used that somehow? Like, what if we had the spell? So if we press, or if we... no way to communicate, will that work? Send message?
Objection!
Okay, that was right then. On Sanctus, you testified that there was no way for you to observe and communicate with the construct. Am I correct? Yes, I was at the meeting with Steelwind for that entire day. Anyone there could testify to that fact. I'm not disputing your so-called alibi, but it's not as airtight as you might think. What are you talking about? I was there at the meeting, Mr. Cuthbert. Lord von Sanctus may have been absent in mind, but he was there physically. Uh-oh, he's scared. Absent in mind, so his attention wasn't focused on the meeting, which means that his attention was somewhere else. I suppose you're correct, Miss Steelwind, but I still have one question for you, Lord von Sanctus. And what would that be? Are you able to cast the send message spell? What? Miss Steelwind, your client may have been physically at the meeting, but his attention was somewhere else, wasn't it? He could have used a combination of spells to view the construct during the meeting, and he could have used send message spell to communicate with it over a large distance. If my claim is truly false, your client should have no trouble disproving it with his spell compendium. Von Sanctus? You appear to be hesitating, Von Sanctus. Can I assume that you do know how to cast send message? If so, that would punch a gigantic hole in your alibi. Steelwind, you were there, weren't you? My attention was fully there. I need her to cover for me. The idea that I was communicating with a construct is absurd. I'm afraid that I can't say that, Lord von Sanctus. Steelwind? I did find it odd. Your attention appeared to be elsewhere, despite the gravity of our discussion. And I seem to recall you speaking under your breath the entire time. I had always just assumed you were muttering obscenities. But Mr. Cuthbert's explanation does seem possible. What are you saying? Aren't you obligated to defend me? I am obligated to represent you to the best of my ability. I am not obligated to forge your alibi for you. You little... Oh boy. Lord Von Sanctus, I'm afraid the court needs an answer. Are you able to cast the send message spell? Fine, I admit it, okay? I am able to cast send message. Oh boy. But that still doesn't prove anything? His voice betrays a hint of desperation. You have him right where you want him. Now is our opportunity to deal the final blow. So why do you feel so uneasy? There are still two details that don't sit well with you. When I looked to see what it was, I saw that Justin had tumbled over the guardrail on the walkway. Rika saw Justin fall over the guardrail, even though Von Sanctus sabotaged it. Then please enlighten us, Mr. Cuthbert. How could both of their testimonies possibly be true? Okay, so what if the failsafe for how to get a construct to do his testimony, his jobs was, if you're discovered, dispatch of the discoverer. So maybe he threw Justin over the railing. Justin grabbed onto the edge of the railing, and then maybe the other part was to destroy yourself, and so he rammed himself through the guardrail? Maybe? Well, I think there's only one possible explanation. Both Miss Tudor and Mr. Morrison saw someone fall off the walkway. But the person that Miss Tudor saw and the person that Mr. Morrison saw were two different people. The second person that fell into the vat is still unaccounted for, unless it's the construct. Luckily, you didn't need to prove that this second person existed, but not having an explanation for Astor and Morrison's testimony still irks you. However, even if it's not a clean ending, there's only one way forward, and that's revealing Von Sanctus for the petty saboteur that he is. Alright? Why did you hesitate so long to answer my question, Von Sanctus? You know very well why I hesitated. Why would I willingly give you evidence? You clearly intend to use it against me. Regardless, this entirely disproves your alibi. You could have communicated with your construct at the meeting. By that logic, I could be the mastermind behind every crime that occurs in Arnak. Someone else could have sent that construct. I may have the means to commit this crime, but there are plenty of other individuals that could have sent an arcane construct. That's not true because they're rare, right? Let's see. There's something we have that says it was rare, right? Was it her testimony? No. There's something we have that says that they're rare. Right? Do we not have anything like that? Lord Von Sanctus personally sold several tools. Von Sanctus attempted to sell Dracogen a few arcane constructs. Okay, I think it's this one. A product that's not available to anyone else in Arnak. Von Sanctus, you of all people should know that the arcane constructs are not available to the public. When you attempted to sell these constructs to Dracogen, you promised him that he would be the first merchant in Arnix that would own one. Since he refused your offer, that would leave you as the only owner of arcane constructs in Arcanax. That's... well, I admit I may not have been that truthful when I made my sales pitch. So you're saying you lied to my client? Oh, please. Every good businessman knows how to embellish the truth when making a sale. Okay, I've sold constructs to other individuals. The truth is that I've sold those constructs to plenty of other individuals in the Arnax. If only it would be too dangerous to sell it to anyone else. Alright, so this is going to be against claims that contradict thoughts seen through the eye, so it's definitely of intuition. Frankly, Von Sanctus, I find that hard to believe. After the Nightgrave trial, you must have been a lot more fearful about who you sold your constructs to. You only tried to sell your constructs to Dracogens so that you could control them. You wouldn't have done that otherwise. Is that so? Then why don't you prove it? No, Von Sanctus, why don't you prove your statement? Show us any invoice that proves you've made a sale to someone in Arnak. Well, who says that the saboteur lived in Arnex when I made the sale? Are you serious? Arnex is a trading hub. Plenty of people come and go from the city. The saboteur could be someone who secretly entered Arnex. Any one of my customers could have secretly entered the city to carry out the sabotage. No, there was a blockade. A blockade? Let's see. And the Kingsguard would have taken careful note of everyone that is currently contained within the blockade. Von Sanctus, you might have been right under any other circumstance, but the Kingsguard locked down the city on the day that the accident occurred. No one except for a select few individuals could have left or entered the city. And due to the gravity of the situation, the Kingsguard created profiles of everyone within the city. Why don't we cross-reference the records taken by the Kingsguard with the list of individuals who you've sold constructs to? I suppose from a reaction, that list would come up empty. So why don't you admit to your crimes, Von Sanctus? Or do I have to drag the evidence into court myself? Wait, drag the evidence into court? Of course, how could I forget? What? Uh-oh. Why don't you go ahead and do that, Mr. Cuthbert? Bring in your so-called evidence. I don't know where this confidence is coming from, but we can easily detect the traces of divination and transmutation on the constructs you own. Assuming that construct still exists, that is. Of course. That's right. If he used a construct to commit a crime like this, he would have definitely disposed of it by now. Of course, by having the order be, throw yourself into the vat. Alright? Even within the blockade, Arnex is a gigantic city. With his resources, he could have hidden it anywhere in the city. It would be a needle in a needle hidden within a town of haystacks. We still have the testimony of Masarika Tudor, and I'm sure many other people saw that construct walking around the refinery. The common folk can hardly be trusted to recognize complex artificery. Without the actual construct, all you have are several unreliable witnesses. Tell me, Lady Steelwind, can I be convicted of such a serious charge with such evidence? No, I suppose not. Darn it, is he seriously going to get away with this? No, you still have one card up your sleeve. It's the Eye of Horus, isn't it? If you could just find out where he disposed of the evidence, you might be able to direct the Inquisition there. It's in the vat. That's where the construct is. Come on, focus on his thoughts, Tyrion. Activate the Empowered Eye. Oh boy. Your undignified glaring will do you no favors. What? Why isn't it working? The Eye of Horus is a powerful tool, Tyrion. And that's twice now that you've used the Empowered Eye to get out of a corner. If you keep relying on that one trick, you'll never grow as an attorney. One day, you'll find a witness that the Empowered Eye won't work on. Miss Demora was right. You've been relying on the Empowered Eye too much. From your silence, I assume that you have no way to rebut my claim. I suppose that makes it checkmate, you upstart commoner. Honestly, I can't believe you'd resort to accusing me of manslaughter. What a crass and underhanded tactic. But I suppose I wouldn't expect anything less from a charlatan like you. Darn it. Oh, we were so close. What are you doing? What? That look on your face. Are you seriously giving up? I've seen you get out of plenty of situations like this. So why are you giving up this time? I'm sorry, Celeste, but I can't use my usual strategies. There's no way to find the evidence that we need. Seriously? There's always a way, Tyrion. If your usual strategies aren't working, then you just need to do something different. She's right. You don't need to see directly into his mind to utilize your skills as an attorney. You may not be able to rely on the Eye of Horus this time, but you've always been able to rely on deductive reasoning. Well, it seems you have no further questions for me, and you clearly don't have a shred of physical evidence to support your claims. I think I'll be taking my leave. I'm not quite done with you yet, Von Sanctus. Honestly, your desperation is almost pitiful. You should really learn to lose with dignity, Mr. Cuthbert. He's the last person you want to hear that from. Calm your mind and focus. You may not be able to read Von Sanctus's mind in the literal sense, but you can still extrapolate his plan and his actions. Let's explore my theory a little more and see for ourselves if there's no physical evidence. If you wanted to use a construct, you would have needed to maintain constant communication. So to prove that this communication occurred, we would need something that connects you to it. Which piece of evidence would connect the murder to Von Sanctus? Send message can normally only target one person, but arcane constructs probably don't count as people for the purposes of that spell. What piece of evidence would that leave behind? Let's see. So we have the vat, the rod of mending, the object, the guardrail. Alright, the vat that Justin Way fell into. These are all that. Alright, so I think that's gotta be it, right? The vat that Justin Way fell into. No, to implicate Von Sanctus, you need something that points directly to him. Alright, you're not sure what kind of magic he used to view the construct during the sabotage, but you do know he used send message to communicate with it. Okay, so then it'd be the rod of mending, right? The object that Lloyd Von Sanctus attuned to. Oh yeah, I guess that would make sense. It's the object that Lloyd Von Sanctus attuned to. An arcane construct isn't a person, so you must have used an object attuned to your magic to communicate with it. Miss Steelwind, if we were able to find that object, would that tie your client to the sabotage? Hypothetically, yes. The Inquisition has divination magic, and they can use it to detect if an object is attuned to a specific mage. Good luck finding such evidence. If I did perform these acts, the remains could be anywhere in Arnex. I'm not so sure about that, Von Sanctus. Let's look at things from your perspective. Why would you do the things you did that day? Knowing that will point us to where you ultimately hid the construct. Your intention was to sabotage the refinery without anyone finding out what you did. So how would you dispose of the construct and the attuned item? How could Von Sanctus easily destroy the evidence? He needed to hide and or destroy it so no one would be able to find it. Easy. Wait, destroy? Yep. Let's see. The evidence was thrown into the vat of volatile liquid, right? You used the vat of volatile liquid. He's afraid. You suppose that makes sense. You found the remnants of the rod of mending in there too. But wouldn't that mean that the object is fully dissolved? Exactly. There would be no physical evidence for you to find. That's not necessarily true. You threw the rod of mending into the vat, and that didn't fully dissolve. What? The workers neutralized the liquid immediately after Justin fell into the vat. What? Neutralizing the liquid would have rendered it unsalvageable and useless. Doing that would have cost Dracogen a small fortune. Unlike you, Von Sanctus, my client values the lives of his workers over his profits. And because of that, the Inquisition was able to find pieces of bone matter and metal within the vat. Wait, the rod didn't fully dissolve. This means that it was thrown into the vat around the same time that Justin fell into it. You wouldn't have thrown the rod into the vat until after you were done with your sabotage. And if you wanted to destroy the rod, you would have destroyed all the evidence that you needed to get rid of. What piece of evidence would Von Sanctus also dispose of? The construct, right? The arcane construct. You would have also destroyed the arcane construct itself. That's ridiculous. Lady Steelwind, why aren't you... I told you before, didn't I? I will defend you to the best of my ability, but I will not fabricate an alibi for you. She has no craps to give. You must have ordered the construct to throw itself into the vat to hide any traces of your sabotage. A machine resembling a human threw itself into the vat, and this means that anyone looking at the walkway would have seen this. That's it! The arcane construct was the second person that Aster and Morrison saw fall into the vat. That's why we didn't find organic matter from anyone other than Justin in there. The second body that Aster and Morrison saw was actually an arcane construct. How are you? Wait, Rika was sure that she saw Justin fall off the walkway. After she notified Aster and Morrison, they saw the construct break the guardrail and fall into the vat. So when the construct threw the whatever that object was called into the vat, did it hit Justin? And so this was part of the cover-up? Wouldn't that mean, or maybe Justin saw and so he had to get taken out? I don't know. Wouldn't that mean that the construct disposed of itself after Justin Way fell off the walkway? So I think it makes more sense if it hit Justin and he fell off and was holding onto the walkway, and that's what Rika saw. She ran to go tell the others, and then what the Aster and the Harbor Master saw was the construct barreling through the guardrail. Why would you order it to do that? Because it never happened. Your logic is flawed. He's getting stressed out. Maybe you should try using the empowered eye. No, you don't need it this time. You're so close to figuring this out, you can feel it. So think. If he was observing the construct using magic, he must have seen Justin fall. And for some reason, he reacted by sabotaging the guardrail. Why did Von Sanctus sabotage the guardrail? Alright. To cover his mistakes. Unless he did all of this because he saw Justin fall, right? So, Von Sanctus wanted the broken guardrail to look like an accident. No, Von Sanctus saw Justin fall off the walkway. And instead of running away, he ordered the construct to sabotage and break the guardrail. He wanted it to look like Stephanic Dracogen. He wanted this. Oh, he wanted the sabotage to look like an accident? Is that it? No. He wanted Justin's death to look like an accident. All the same thing, just different words. So I had the right idea. It is because you wanted it to look like an accident. Which means that it wasn't actually an accident. Oh, now you're accusing me of intentionally murdering the victim? Why would I ever do that? You said it yourself, my goal was sabotage. Committing murder would have brought unnecessary attention to what I'd done. Unless he saw it, but those constructs do have a habit of shoving people that are in their way. What if the construct pushed Justin out of the way, causing him to fall over the edge of the guardrail? He's figuring out everything that happened from just a few clues? Alright, so let's see. Hey, I didn't see you there. I was just walked past him. Acknowledged. What? Oh, he shoved him. Hey, watch it! Quit shoving me! Wait, whoa! Holy crap! Pull me up! I can't hold on for much longer. You idiot, what are you doing? What? Grab his arm and pull him up. Acknowledged. My hand! What are you doing? Your grip is too tight. Stop that. Acknowledged. Wait, I can still... Oh, okay, I see. So, he did not give specific enough orders in his moment of panic. It may have been unintentional. But either way, you would have been at fault for Justin's death, not my client. and if the construct fell in after Justin, your tuned object must be somewhere in the neutralized liquid. No, it's even better than that. Constructs are made from a specific magical alloy, aren't they? I'm sure with a few divination spells, we can identify the metal shards from the construct and your arcane focus. Each and every one of those pieces points directly at you, Von Sanctus. You petulant little upstart! And that's checkmate, Von Sanctus. Oh boy. He's mad. Why don't you save us all a little time, Von Sanctus? Admit to what you did. And while you're at it, drop your false allegations against my client. I have nothing to admit to, nor do I have anything to apologize for. Of course not. You're completely blameless, right? Do you think you've achieved victory here today? No, dissidents like you and Dracogen are absolutely deluded. Each and every breath you take only throws Wyverngard further into chaos. You talk about these commoners as if they have even a fraction of the power that you have. Lady Stillwind, you need to see reason. They lack awareness of the power they truly have. What? These people have infected you and His Majesty with these idealistic delusions. I implore both of you to see reality for what it is. No, Von Sanctus, the true reality is that people like you become threatened when we challenge your power. You all speak about the rights of the individual. You speak as if each and every one of you wouldn't stab each other in the back the moment it benefited yourselves. You may hate the nobility, you may curse, scream, and blame us for all of your little problems. But the truth is, you need us. You need us to direct and lead you. You need us to maintain the fragile order that holds your peaceful little lives together. You talk about protecting the common folk from themselves. But the truth is that your actions led to the death of an innocent man. That is the only truth that matters. The defense has no further questions for this witness. He is dismissed. Very well. We did it again, Tyrion! And we even caught another murderer in the process. Yeah, we couldn't get the case officially dismissed today, but it's pretty much inevitable with the evidence that we brought in today. Actually, it probably won't even reach that point. I've advised Lord Von Sanctus to drop the suit entirely. Word has already spread regarding the evidence that you brought forward. At this point, prolonging the trial would just harm his public image even more. That's great! Now you can build a case against him for Justin's death. About that, I'll probably be forced to recuse myself from any charges brought against him. What? Why? It's because you represented him in this suit, isn't it? It would be considered a conflict of interest to prosecute him yourself, even though you're probably the only prosecutor that would convict him successfully. You're correct. As the head of one of the Pillar families, he has the justice system dancing in the palm of his hand. He will definitely be quietly and swiftly acquitted. I would never have agreed to represent him if I had known about this. I'm truly sorry. Darn it, he must have had this planned all along. No, is he seriously going to get away with this? I wouldn't be so sure about that. Dracogen. He may be acquitted in the legal sense, but the court of public opinion is a different thing entirely. What do you mean? You brought forward a myriad of evidence against him, and I'm sure everyone in the gallery saw it too. Von Sanctus's power relies on his public image, and you quite handily tore down that facade. He may walk free, but his power and ideals have taken a great blow. Is that seriously all we can do? His actions and recklessness resulted in the death of Justin Wade. He should be punished within the letter of the law. You're not wrong, Mr. Cuthbert. But sometimes we must take the victories that we can get. She's probably right. But there's still one thing that's nagging at me. Oh, what's that? Why was your safe unlocked if nothing was stolen? If Justin had gotten into your safe, he would have taken all your gold with him. It wouldn't still be there. Considering that nothing is missing, I'd rather leave it at that. Really? Justin was a good man. I'd rather not taint anyone's memory of him. especially Masarika's. Right. She was pretty upset about your accusations. Nothing was taken, so no harm is done in that regard. I suppose so. And I can't help but wonder what actually happened. Oh boy. Maybe he got the gold and Dracogen just let him take it? Let's see. It just makes no sense to me. The kid successfully robbed the guy days ago. No one saw him, no one even suspected him. But then he breaks into the place again. Oh, so he could put back the stolen gold? Oh, okay. And that's what got him killed. He stole the gold and then he felt guilty about it and put it back. Does this make any sense to you, Eris? Perhaps he felt remorse for his actions, Father. Oh, man. So I bet he's a demon, too. Not everyone can betray the people they love so easily. And if that's true, I feel like there's a sense of tragic beauty to it all. If he had never tried to do the right thing, he never would have encountered the construct in the first place. He would have paid his debt, and he would still have his life. It's true what they say. No good deed goes unpunished. It's a shame about the gold, though. I think we've more than made a profit today. Oh man, she's connected to it too. I, for one, am happy to have claimed a boatload of tithes today. So crooked. Oh man. Alright, so the next case will be severed ties. Okay, so we will start that one in the next episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this case. I thought it was interesting, and we couldn't use the Eye of Horus. Of course, we also didn't learn really anything about it, so I guess I was wrong in that mistake, in on that case. But it's okay. It was still a really fascinating case of accident turned murder. So, if you like this kind of content, please make sure to like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. If you want to watch live, we're on Twitch at twitch.tv/Lear27. I have my schedule posted in the About section, and I post which games I'll be playing each day on twitter.com/Lear27. I hope that you will join me for the next one, and until then, guys, I will see you later. Bye.